thorium, the secret of the god of lightning that no one talks about, and that could perhaps save the earth. The secret of the god of lightning, Thor, of Norse mythology. More nuclear friendly than uranium, thorium may achieve the elusive dream, a green nuclear solution. A short CV for the element thorium. Such a piece of thorium can provide energy to a person for the rest of his life. This is the motto of the proponents of the thorium solution for energy. It's one of the elements about which you hear few things if you do not move in the circle of these types of people. And such people are those who deal with nuclear technology and reactors for the production of useful electricity. For them, we would say that thorium, having now arrived recently in this decade, is the element of the year. In Halden, a small town south of Norway, almost on the border with Sweden, with a population of about 30,000 people. It's been launched since April of 2013, several meters below the ground, an experiment that has sparked worldwide interest. In fact, in October of that year, the Norwegian government decided to give money to support the research on nuclear energy. Kindly support my Patreon account since YouTube has again demonetized my YouTube channel. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below. And it's rather strange, given the money to support its research, strange for a country that is so interested in the environment. But Thor suggests something that interests countries that are economically and technologically very strong, such as Great Britain, India, Brazil, and even the United States. A nuclear experimental reactor has been assembled in the bowels of the Earth, but the power cycle is based on thorium and not uranium. Now, thorium, we know, is one of the rare elements of the Earth. Thorium discovered in 1829 by Norwegian amateur mineralogist Trond Esmark. He named it after Thor, the Norse god of thunder, and its first application were developed in the late 19th century. Thorium's radioactivity widely acknowledged in the first decades of the 20th century, and in the second half of the century, thorium was replaced in many uses due to concerns about its radioactivity. It's all known thorium isotopes are unstable. The most unstable, thorium-322, has a half-life of 14.05 billion years, or about the age of our universe. Radioactivity of thorium, it's highly radioactive, it's highly reactive, and electropositive metal. And thorium metal finally divided can exhibit pyroporicity and spontaneously igniting in the air. And when heated in the air, thorium turnings ignite and burn with a brilliant white light to produce the dioxide. Radioactivity of thorium, as we said, it was first discovered in 1898. It was the second element that was found to be radioactive after the discovery of radioactivity in uranium by French physicist Henri Becquerel. And starting in 1899, New Zealand physicist Rutherford and American electrical engineer Robert Boy Owens studied the radiation from thorium. Now in the 21st century, thorium's potential for reducing nuclear proliferation and its waste characteristics led to renewed interest in thorium fuel cycle. India has projected meeting as much as 30% of its electrical demand through thorium-based nuclear power by 2050. In February 2014, Bhabha Atomic Research Center in Mumbai, India, presented their latest design for a next-generation nuclear reactor that burns thorium as its fuel, calling it the Advanced Heavy Water Reactor, AHWR. And in 2009, the chairman of the Indian Atomic Energy Commission, said that India has a long-term objective goal of becoming energy independent based on its vast thorium resources. Now, thorium we can extract from the Earth's surface is not ready to give energy if it's bombarded with neutrons, but it's been known since the 1950s that if helped by the presence of an easier or more fertile element, as it's called in nuclear technology, then it can be a very useful material. Today, a method is being tested where thorium and plutonium have been placed in specially shaped disks in a ratio of 9:1. They are bombarded with neutrons and uranium-233 is produced, which is the fuel itself and can maintain the production of energy in the reactor by splitting. At the same time, plutonium is consumed and nuclear waste is much easier to manage. So why did they say that? In 1815, the Swedish chemist Berzelius examined a sample of the mineral sent to him by a Norwegian clergyman and amateur miner. The mineral was today's thorium. From there, heating thorium fluoride with potassium, he took pure thorium and gave it a name of the god of Norse and German mythology, Thor. It was not until 1898 that Schmidt and Curie realized, independently of each other, that thorium in fact was radioactive. In its pure form, it is a glossy silver-colored metal, and as a mineral, it is 3 times more abundant than uranium, 5 times more abundant than tin, and 200 times more abundant than silver. So what does that mean for our lives concerning this? We know that in the 1930s, 40s, radioactive toothpaste was around, and it was in fashion, until they realized a lot of people that had used this got sick with leukemia and other things, so they stopped that. Although they knew it was radioactive from 1898, in the X-ray era and shortly after 1920, they gave those who were to be examined a colloidal solution of thorium dioxide so they could see better concerning the X-ray, as they said, and various organs of the body and the blood circulation. And it was not until in 1954 that thorium preparations were discontinued, when statistics show that many of the samples of 10,000 people had leukemia, bone cancer, and altered chromosomes as well. Only the symptoms lasted for about 30 years. It seems even more creepy today that before World War II there was thorium toothpaste. About 3 millionths of a gram are taken as organisms a day, mainly from the soil where it's abundant, but fortunately we do not do anything, and 99.98% is eliminated from our body. A little bit, 0.02%, accumulates in the bones. Every year, 5,000 tons of thorium are produced, while the total reserves around the Earth are estimated at 3 million tons. The countries with the largest quantities in their subsoil today are Brazil, India, Norway, Turkey, and the United States. And it's no coincidence that Norway then and India are so interested in thorium reactors. India, as we said, has drawn up a long-term plan in 3 stages and is now in the final stages of designing the thorium reactor, with the first test expected to take place in a few years and after decades of effort. So, was this what thorium meant? The mythology of Northern Europe people, he lived in heaven and was the god of thunder and of lightning, winds, and weather. Something like our own Zeus of ancient Greek mythology. From the ancient Norwegian Dor or the Saxon Tunar, we finally recognize its name in the words given for the day, Thursday. In German, Donnerstag, in English, Thursday, means day of Thor. So what is the secret of Thor? In the 1950s, meetings were held in the United States military headquarters on new weapons, and then Commander of the Navy demanded the construction of nuclear submarines, and the respective officers of the Army talked about atomic weapons, and at the time there was a lot of advanced research on nuclear reactors, and thorium in American laboratories had shown its qualification in relation to uranium, because in general thorium gives residues that have a much shorter half-life than uranium, and it's much easier to stop a thorium-based reactor because it cannot reach an uncontrollable chain reaction. On the other hand, they concluded that they could not build a reactor for atomic submarines using molten sodium salt, because when it comes in contact with seawater, it causes a violent explosion. On the other hand, reactors that used only uranium gave in the end, among other residues, plutonium, a material that they had early found to be very useful for new nuclear weapons. So for this secret of Thor, it's nothing more than the finding that the plans, which were quite advanced for the use of thorium, went on the ice, and the scientists who prepared and supported them were led to resign for the sake of the hawks. And today, they're trying to restore thorium again, presenting it almost as something green in relation to the universe. Recently, it has even recommended that by the Swedish former minister and former chairman of the International Atomic Energy Commission, Hans Blix. Only we are far behind, and a lot of work is needed for a global consensus on the use of thorium reactors. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support.